one what what led to uh, what led to you becoming the Pizza Hut DVD special of comedy?
That's very insulting from what pizzas I
Okay,
make.
okay. Let's say Pizza Express.
Ah, that's better because we actually have our own version of garlic dough balls, which was a reverse engineer version of what the Pizza Express people were doing. And I would not have heard, by the way, I would not have heard of Pizza Express or dough balls if it weren't for Ollie Horn, who helped me design the menu. So
Ah,
because so when we got into lockdown, we were really in trouble, you know, in sustaining an income to pay rent. So we had to make a decision. We had to either do, you know, what every other event promoter was doing, which was get into the whole hybrid virtual event running and invest in HD cameras, boom sound, what do you call it, Zoom sound mics and whatever, all this, you know, expensive gadgets, right? So I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford HD cameras and such sound equipment and all that, green screen and whatever. I'm not a very tech person. I'm like I'm like a boomer pretending to be a millennial. If that makes any sense, right? I'm not very tech savvy. So I didn't choose that road. I instead went to the F&B road, right? The food business, which is a very competitive business, especially here in Kuala Lumpur, because there is immense abundance, a vast choice when it comes to food for Malaysians, right? So we'd be joining a very competitive market. But I knew that we had an edge, we had a narrative, because for the past 7 years, we were known to be the home of the grassroots comedy scene. We were known to have, you know, the affordable international comedy shows in a comedy club venue. And now with the pandemic, people know that we lost our income. So we'd have a narrative. We would have a story as to why we are getting into the food business. So I knew for sure that our regulars, our fans, the people that would support Crack House will definitely give our food a try one time. And it was going to be a lot of hard work to make sure that they become repeat customers and they tell us about their friends about, hey, the food is really good, you should give it a try. And you know, word of mouth has been our, you know, has been putting rice in my bowl for my entire career. I'm sure you might have looked up personally my online presence. It is shit. I have the least amount of followership on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter of all the comedians in Kuala Lumpur. Yet I make a sustainable living out of it purely by word of mouth. Similarly to Crack House, we never put up a big budget to advertise, to market it. In fact, what we were doing was very edgy, and the stuff that was going down would otherwise be seditious, even to a point where governments or political parties would want us to shut down because of the stuff we were saying, you know. So we never wanted, we were always under the radar. People always heard about Crack House through word of mouth. So we wanted the same effect for our food, right? So we wanted to come up with something that was so good, people will talk about us. Now, what would we sell? Western or Asian food? Obviously, we went with something Western because stand-up comedy itself is a Western art form. Uh, we borrowed stand-up comedy itself and we infused our own voice in it. Similarly, what we're doing to Western food, we're going to infuse our own voice into what is essentially a Western creation. And what type of Western food can everybody enjoy? Friends and family, kids alike, pizza. So, and I've always had a fantasy to open a pizzeria of my own before I became a comedian. I always wanted to. I love pizzas. And so I did 3.5 months of intense R&D. I was eat, sleep, drinking, walking, everything. Pizza, 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 pizza. Talking to people about pizza. Every time I was on the internet, I'd YouTube something about pizza. I would just try out this dough, that dough, everything. And I also have a partner, Shankar Santiram, who is the other partner that's still with me in Crack House, who's also a restaurateur. So he has a lot of insights as to how to run a restaurant business. So we make everything ourselves. We make our own dough base. We make our own sauce. We marinate our own meat. The only thing we do not make is the cheese because we don't own a cow. Uh, uh, yeah. So we knew that selling something universal like pizza and giving it a funny twist to it, calling it funny names. Our lamb pizza is called Mary, had a big one as well, had a big one too. Uh, our beef pizza was supposed to be called Frisky Brisket. It's so good, it'd make you horny, but we changed it to I Got Beef. Our chicken pizza is called Ayam What I Am, because Ayam is the Malay word for chicken. And also my partner Shankar Santiram had wanted us to stand out, because if we were to go into the food business, we'd be entering a very competitive market. We'd be doing what everybody else is doing, selling food. So we needed to stand out. Like I said, we had that narrative. So how do we include our comedy brand in our food? We get international headliners to provide us a 1-minute clip, a 1-minute joke clip, if you will, specially made for the customers of our pizza orders. And I would take this 1-minute clip and I would put it in a QR code on a business card that had their face on it, and I would stick it on the box, and with a message now on the box saying thank you and please enjoy your 1-minute free comedy clip by scanning this, and I draw an arrow to the QR code. And every time you order a pizza, you should get a different comedian. Like I said, we have the first comedian I got was Imran Yusuf, who's fantastic and UK comic and a really swell guy. And Paul Ogata from the US. And then, of course, I got the local boys in as well, Dr. Jason Leong, Kavin J, and even Ollie Horn is on it. I got a card myself. So at least we have something else. We'd have an edge rather than just selling food like everybody else,
So you stand out. Yeah, exactly. It's like, when you go to KFC, the hot wings are the best thing. And like with chips, you need a bit of sauce in it to make it good. What you guys are, you're the ketchup sauce to chips with the pizza. You're giving extra flavoring to the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not just pizzas too. We also have side dishes, chicken wings, garlic dough balls, which is a Pizza Express thing. Is that true? Is it? I mean, like I said, I've never heard of it until Ollie Horn talked about it with me, because we wanted a garlic bread option, and he was like, "Well, Pizza Express has these things called dough balls." Is that right, Marvin?
It's good. It's very good.
So we make our own version of balls, garlic bread balls.
You make your own version of balls.
And we call it, wait for it, Ollie's Greasy Balls. And it comes with the melted herb butter drizzle, or as we call it, the Rizzle Drizzle, for you to pour all over the balls.
Oh, it's okay. So it's being used for Netflix and chill then.
yeah, next one. Yeah.
No, I mean, I mean, one thing that's really interesting about what you said there is I want to find out about what was the reaction towards it and how did it get to where it is now? Were people a bit shocked by it and then they grew to like it and now it's boom, 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 boom? Or was it?
Well, the idea is appealing, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
people never came to Crack House for the food. Heavens no, because the food was just bar snacks, right? Potato chips, nachos, hot dogs, you know, just yeah, cheap bar snacks before. So when we finalized this menu, we were so excited about it, right? So we shouted it out to the public, and it definitely intrigues people. The menu is funny enough to read. People, and we sell the fact that we make everything our own. It was done with no shortcuts. Everything is made fresh to order. This and that. So it would intrigue people, and we were very lucky because in January, well, I started researching pizzas from December right up to January, right up to February. Come end of February, beginning of March, our funds were already low. I was already getting really scared. We were running out of money to pay rent. All the money I had in the company was all in food that was in the chillers, in the fridges, right? And we were ready to go online and announce to the public that you can order a homemade pizza with a comedy joke, with a 1 minute joke from the Crack House Comedy Club. Before you know it, the lockdown was lifted. Cases were at an all-time low. We were getting only single-digit new cases every day, Marvin. We were getting 5 new cases every day, sometimes 2 cases, sometimes 0 cases per day. So the government lifted the lockdown and he allowed live events to continue with half the capacity, following standard, well, SOPs, right? Following restrictions, right? So 1 meter apart, temperature checks, contact tracing app registration, so on and so forth. So this gave us a window for people to try our food in-house, fresh from the oven, while we could go back to live shows. And it was quite funny because we were so engrossed in building a pizza menu, we kind of went like, oh, we can do live shows again. We walked over to the sound system. We're like, how do we turn this on again? We looked at the microphone. We're like, so we plugged this in, right? We were like a bit lost, right? 1 year after lockdown. So people were flocking the club, man. Like it's like you say now, like in the UK, people are much more appreciative of any comedian they would watch. They're not so much caring about, whose name is on the poster. They would come. Similarly, what happened in Kuala Lumpur, when they lifted the lockdown, people were so happy to come out to a live event. We had people, new audiences coming in after 7 years, people coming into the Crack House for the first time, never seen a live comedy show. And then our regulars started coming back in. So they had first hand trying out our food in the club. And the response, thankfully, was positive. It was so positive. People were so surprised, like, this is really good. So it was getting a reputation of its own already. So next thing you know, we had shows for 2 months, right? The government lifted the lockdown 2 months before we went back into a third lockdown, which is now looking to be the longest and most serious one. So luckily we had that 2-month window for people to try our food in our club. So there was already a window for marketing our food. And then we went back into lockdown. So then now we can put this delivery business to the test. And it works to some level. I mean, as I said, the food business in Malaysia is very competitive, very, 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 very competitive. So some nights we would sell, 25 pizzas, which is very good take. Some nights we would only sell 2 pizzas, Marvin, just 2. So we're getting by. We're sustaining, which the way things are going now is honestly a lot more than we can ask for.